type of person to be compelled to come into your world. Okay. So that's what I'm talking about. And one thing that you may be doing without noticing that may be bringing people into your world who are not ideal. Either they're not ready to invest, or they're not really ready to take action, or if they are taking action to some extent and getting on calls with you, you recognize they're not really the right person, or there's this desperation about them. It's probably because of the languaging that you are using. And this is a major roadblock because, as a busy entrepreneur, and I know as a busy mama, you don't have time to waste creating and posting content only to get on calls or have people in your DMs who are not committed, who are not serious, or they're not ready to invest at a premium level into your programs and your offers. Okay. Or when they do invest, they're investing from this place of desperation and fear. Have you ever seen that? So they're looking to you to save them instead of taking full ownership and full responsibility for their actions and therefore for their results within your container. So I want you to think about this. Do you speak to your audience as if they aren't empowered? Like they need you? Do you speak to them like they aren't ready to move, to take action, that they're not successful? Or do you speak to them like they need you to hold their hands every single step of the way, or else they won't be able to get the results without you? Now, how this could look, and this is something that a lot of, bro marketing tactics, things that were thought way back in the day, in the beginnings of the internet world and digital marketing and online marketing, was this push for the pain point, right? A lot of fear tactics, push on their pain points, talk about their pain points in your marketing all the time. When you're on the call with them, and push on their pain, let them know, like, without you, kind of like, they won't be able to make it, a come to Jesus moment kind of thing. This is something a lot of I call them the old school gurus used to teach. I used to be in a program where there was this type of marketing thought, and it felt so, ugh, it just didn't feel right, to constantly be pushing on the pain for people, because it's like they're adults. In my mind, they're grown adults. They can make the decision if they want to change or not. And of course, I understand that, sometimes, change is hard and it's uncomfortable. But when you're ready and you're ready to make a change, you will take those next steps. So pushing on the pain all the time and always talking about the pain, it's disempowering, and it doesn't bring you ideal people who are coming from a place of belief in their own abilities, empowered in their ability, and confident in their ability to get their results. So all you do when you talk about the pain and you use a lot of these fear tactics that have been taught, is you're then speaking to a disempowered person, or the disempowered version of your ideal client. So how can you tell if you're using disempowering language? Well, take some time and audit your content. Go through your content, go through what you're putting out there, and ask yourself, or see, how many times you use phrases like "you can't invest," or "you don't have the money," or "money is tight," or "nothing you do seems to work," right? Or "you're unwilling to change, or to actually make that transformation or get this result," or "you're stuck and struggling all the time," or "you're desperate because if it doesn't work out, you won't know what to do." That, like, even like when you hear that, how does that feel for you? If you're here, let me know in the comment section. How does that feel for you? The list can go on. But by using this type of languaging constantly in your copy, in your content, you're speaking to the disempowered version of your ideal client. You're speaking to someone who is stuck in their pain, and you're bringing out that victim in them. You're talking to someone who's looking for you to literally save them. They're desperate. They're not willing to put in any effort. They want to hand you the keys and you drive that bus. Right? You are my last saving grace. Okay? They're scraping together their last two pennies, if that, to work with you. So they're riding on "this has got to work or else" mentality. And it's scary because they're giving away all their power. I'm not saying that you don't want to bring people who are action takers and who are ready to move. But you have to understand there are two types of people. There's a person who is done with not having this certain result, right? Not having the body that they desire, or whatever it may be, or the finances that they want, or the career that they desire. and they believe in themselves. They know that they can make it happen, but they want to move faster. They know that having a coach, a mentor, whatever it may be, is going to help them get to that destination, that result faster. And they believe in their ability to make that change possible for themselves. That's one type of person versus another type of person on this end who is a victim to circumstance, a victim to the world. They're not having the body because, I don't know, all these diet pills they've tried is a scam, and they don't have the job they want because their boss hates them, and life is unfair, and it's everyone's fault but their own, and they're not willing to make any changes. Right? We know those people too. You get to decide, who do you want to bring into your world? Who would be the most ideal client in your coaching containers? I know for me, it's person A. I don't want to be the savior for any of my clients. Jesus did all that. Okay. You want to bring clients who are able to make the decision and to take action on what they desire, and they just see you as the guide. You are not their end all be all. If they don't get this result and you don't make this happen, oh my goodness, right? These are not your ideal clients because they're not empowered. And the way you speak to people bring in certain people. And what it does is it creates this codependent relationship where, again, they look to you to be their end all be all. If they don't get the results, it's your fault. They're not willing to take ownership and responsibility of their part in getting the results that they want. It's like, I'll use the health because that's very simple to understand. It's like having a client who wants to lose, I don't know, 30 pounds or whatever, and you give them the meal plan and you give them the exercise regimen and you hold them accountable and you're making sure you're calling or you're texting them and saying, hey, are you following through? And they're like, no, I'm not doing anything. And then at the end, they don't get the results and they're like, well, it's your fault. And you're like, I did everything. I coached you. I gave you the plan. I gave you everything. I can't go to the gym for you. I cannot eat the food for you, right? Like, you've got to take some responsibility and accountability to your own results. And so understanding that the way you're speaking and the way you're presenting copy and talking about your offer and everything that you do is going to call a certain person in, because that is going to trigger that type of person, that victim mentality. Now, of course, if this is the type of client you want, the one that needs to be motivated, the one that, who is really shy about investing, but if they're investing, it's like, this is my last dollar, you better make this work. The one who isn't willing to, take responsibility, the one who's disempowered, if that's the type of person you want, then of course, continue using that type of language and keep bringing that person in. But if you want someone different, then I'm going to tell you how you're going to be able to do that. But before I do, I want to give you a quick example about one of my clients, because I think this is so salient. One of my past clients, she's a dating coach. And before working together, she, was putting out content pretty regularly, doing some good work there. But when I went to check her content to see her messaging, she was speaking to, single women, because she's a dating coach, who were desperate in their situation, right? They're looking for love. They've been trying all the things, it's not working. But the one caveat was they're unhealed, and they were always blaming their past situations, their baggage, their past partners for their problems. So she would get people on sales calls with her, but she would recognize that they didn't need a coach. They needed therapy, because they had so much victim blaming. Like, it was everyone else's fault why nothing worked out. And they weren't taking ownership for their own part in the relationship, in terms of, why it didn't work well, or why they were bringing certain people into their, certain partners into their life. They were unwilling to. And so she was like, yeah, I don't want to work with these people. These are not my people, right? They were looking for her to basically save them, help them find Mr. Right, but not taking any ownership on their part in doing that, and being able to be a mirror for the type of partner that they wanted in their life. And she could see that. And so she was like, I don't know why these women keep coming to me. And so after looking at her content and the copy she was putting out, I was like, yeah, there's a lot of victim speak in your content. You're talking a lot about how they're disempowered and how they have all this baggage and da da da. So you're bringing these types of people to you. So after working together, we cleaned up her copy. We figured out who was the type of person she wanted. And of course, it was single women who were very successful in their lives, and they've done their healing work. They had uncovered all the kind of trauma and baggage and all the things they were carrying from past relationships, and were able to make peace with that, basically, and understand their part in that, and so understand how they could then, be the partner for the partner they wanted, and how they had to do their inner work first before they could then, and love themselves first before they could then attract the person they wanted. And so that was the type of person she wanted to bring into her world, and that's what we got clear on for her, so that we could then create content, copy, languaging that's going to speak to that woman versus the one she was speaking to before. And so in her groups, and the people who were starting to come to her were women who were no longer like desperate and like unwilling to, take ownership of their own part in the relationship and what led to it not working out. And she was bringing these more successful women into her world. Just those small little tweaks, but it's so powerful and so important to understand this, because instead of speaking to the pain and triggering your ideal client, you want to activate her or him, depending on who it is, right? You want to speak to the empowered version of your ideal client. You've got to figure out who this is and where they are in their journey. So I want you to think about it. How would you speak to someone in your audience, in your, current audience, that had, 30, 40, 50K just sitting in their bank account, or they have access to it, and she's a go-getter, or he's a go-getter, they're a go-getter, they're an action taker, they're successful maybe in one area of their life, but they're waiting for the right coach to help them get that dream body they want. They're waiting for the right coach to help them with their career ambitions, for the right coach to help them with their business goals, the right coach to help them with their relationship needs. Whatever it may be, these are successful people who take ownership and responsibility, who are personal development minded and oriented, who are just looking for the right person to help guide them to their destination. How would you speak to that type of person versus maybe the person you're speaking to now who may not be ideal? So shift your languaging to speak to that person, and trust it's going to start calling in that person into your container, into your calls, into your DMs, right? No hand holding, no convincing necessary or required at all. Okay. So if you want premium clients consistently, you want a more engaged audience that's willing to actually buy from you, meaning you're speaking to the right people. You want to get on calls with people who don't give you 1.5 million objections because they understand what you do, how you do it, and who it's for, or they don't need like those hour-long calls if you're going to do sales calls to close. Then I want you to implement this strategy into your content strategy. I want you to really be aware of the languaging you're using, and you're going to see a huge shift almost immediately in the type of people coming into your world. Okay. Now, I know you're amazing at what you do, right? You're an action taker, you're a leader, you've done all the marketing stuff, and maybe it's bringing you a couple results. You've gotten clients before, of course, because you are amazing, you're the expert, but you're not getting consistently dream clients, premium clients into your world, and you're ready for that exponential growth and impact, and you know your messaging can definitely be dialed up as well as your offers. If that is you, then of course, I'm going to invite you to send me a DM with the word client in it, and let's have a chat. Let's talk about your languaging. Let's talk about your messaging. I'll take a second look in your current messaging, your current content, see what you're putting out there, give you a couple ideas of how you can tweak it. And if it makes sense, then obviously I'll invite you to have a deeper conversation where we can talk about actually creating a personalized strategy to support your goals so that you can start calling in more ideal premium clients consistently into your business. Okay. So if that's you, send me DM me the word client, and we'll have a chat and see and go from there. All right. Until tomorrow, everyone, have a wonderful